Hello there everybody and welcome, it is Niran here, and today it is time for yet another FIFA 17 career mode experiment here on this channel, and today we've got quite the relevant one. Yesterday, as I'm hoping this has been uploaded, but yesterday Brighton Hove Albion were promoted to the Premier League, so it gave me the perfect opportunity to upload this experiment, asking how Brighton would do in the Premier League, because we're going to be finding that out, well on FIFA 18 anyway, but we're going to be finding out how they do in the Premier League on FIFA in the next one anyway. So let's get a little bit of a preview on FIFA 17 and see whether it's going to be a foreshadowing of their fate in real life or on the game next year, or whether it would prove to be completely wrong compared to next year in in real life. But obviously we'll have to see how that one goes. If you go on to enjoy this FIFA 17 career mode experiment, as always, then make sure to slap a like on it and subscribe if you are new to the channel. Nevertheless, here is the squad that we're going to be using for this experiment. In my eyes, it's a very, very underrated one because, EA do these sort of automatic updates throughout the season. So to say that Brighton have won the league, or they've been promoted with with a few games to spare, it's quite strange to see a squad this low rated. Do you know what I mean? In terms of the overalls of certain, some of the players. I mean, Anthony Knockaert is 76. Obviously, he was named in the Championship Player of the the Championship Team of the Season. I think he won Player of the Season as well. So seeing him at 76, I suppose, isn't too bad. But again, could maybe be a little bit higher. As far as this experiment is concerned, really, it's going to be very difficult for these guys to actually stay in the league. Obviously, you guys can make your predictions at this point in the comment section if you would like to, and see whether you end up being proven right as to whether Brighton stay up in the league or whether they end up getting relegated. I will sim for 2 seasons, so if they do get relegated, then we'll obviously see whether they can get promoted again, and if they survive, then we'll see whether they can survive for 2 seasons in a row or maybe even progress further. But you can see the squad in the background. I'll just sort of scroll through it and you can stop on players and take a little bit more of a look at them if you want. Yeah, it's a very interesting one. As I was saying earlier, I do genuinely believe that some of these players should be a little bit higher rated given how they've done in real life, especially given how EA brought in the sort of automatic updates for, per week, given how certain players do across a season. So that's a bit of a strange one. So it's going to be, again, difficult for these guys to stay up. But here is a squad: Gayton Bong, the man, the myth, the legend. Steve Sidwell, Liam Rosinia, and the rest of the side, some of the youngsters down here as well. But Glenn Murray surely is going to get a big upgrade, someone who scored a lot of goals throughout the season. Kazenga Lualua there as well, who's out on loan, and the rest of the players here as well, who might come into play in the 2nd season of this sim. So for those that have maybe forgotten, this is the Premier League table and how it's looking. Obviously, Brighton are up there in the league for this experiment. The team that's been taken out to replace them and has been placed in the Championship is Sunderland, because they are bottom of the table in real life and therefore most likely to get relegated. At this point, like I did in a experiment recently, it would be kind of cool to see what your predictions are for this experiment. Maybe not just for the 1st season, but also for the 2nd season as well. So whether you're expecting them to survive or get relegated in the 1st season, or maybe do even better than just survival, we'll have to wait and see. They might be able to spring a surprise. So before we get to the actual result of the end of 1st season, pause the video here, put it in the comments section what you think is going to happen, and we'll see who's right and who's wrong. So here we are then at the end of season number 1, and it has been a pretty difficult time of things for Brighton, unfortunately, as I suppose you could have predicted. Down at the bottom of the Premier League table on 18 points, but only 1 point behind Hull City, who finished penultimate in the table and in 19th. Actually won more games as well than Hull City, but drew a lot less and ended up getting a point less. It was Liverpool who won the league though, from Arsenal, Chelsea and Manchester United. Good performances from Stoke and Crystal Palace, with Manchester City underachieving. But yeah, Brighton, negative 50 goal difference as well, 73 goals conceded, 23 goals only scored, which was the main big factor I think for them going down, was they just didn't score enough goals at all. So in terms of the top scorers list, not a single Brighton player actually made it into the top 25. In terms of the assists makers, there's nobody in the top 25 either for Brighton. And then looking at the clean sheets, it's pretty much disastrous all round, really. Not a single, wow, Stockdale doesn't even make it into the top 25 on the clean sheets list, which is really saying something, given 25th place Brad Guzan has 2. So Stockdale didn't even get 2 clean sheets across the season. Bit of a disaster then realistically, but the man who got the most goals and probably stood out the most in the Premier League campaign for the season with 37 appearances and 9 goals as well as 2 assists was Anthony Knockaert, but his average rating was still only a 5.7 out of 10. Tomir Hamed as well managed to get 3 goals, Glenn Murray got 2, Solly March got 2 and a few others with 1, but a very, very poor showing in terms of the amount of players getting goals across the season. In terms of assists, it was a decent season, I suppose, as well as far as the team is concerned for Tomir Hamed even, who got 4 assists, Glenn Murray with 2, Knockaert with 2, Shane Duffy, the centre-back, getting 2 as well. The player with the highest average rating was Fikayo Tomori, but he only played 2 games across the season, so it doesn't particularly count. Tomir Hamed, though, was the man who got the most in terms of average rating and played quite a lot of games across the season. He got a 6.3 as an average. Glenn Murray with a 6.2, Tubrak Pom 6.1, and Sam Baldock, sorry. So season 1 was a bit of a write-off as far as Brighton fans can be concerned. Only 18 points picked up across the Premier League season out of 38 games, and relegation back to the Championship on the first time of asking. Brighton fans will be hoping that doesn't happen in real life, and I'm pretty sure it won't, to be quite honest with you. The team is a lot more competitive in real life compared to the Premier League teams than it is on this game, which is something EA have to sort out before FIFA 18, in my opinion. Nevertheless, we are going to be going into Season 2. We're going to sim to the end of that, see how they do in the Championship, again take a look at the stats, but more crucially see if Brighton can then get re-promoted. So, have Brighton been promoted back into the Premier League? I'm afraid to say for any Brighton fans out there, the resounding answer is a no. 15th position only in the Championship the season after being relegated from the Premier League for the team that is most likely to win the Championship in real life. It's quite astonishing to see them so far down, given how much of a contrast that is to how they're doing in real life. I mean, you look at the teams, you know, up towards the top. I mean, Leeds are in a pretty similar position to where they are now, but apart from that, really, it's actually quite poor across the board in terms of reenacting how real life is going, which that's what should be being reflected, especially given the real life updates that you see from EA. But regardless of those, Brighton Hove Albion only 15th in the Championship and definitely not getting promoted. I was genuinely expecting them to end up in the playoffs, but they ended up 25 points away from 6th place Leeds. So it's already looking a bit better stats-wise than it was in the Premier League season, where we didn't see a single Brighton player in the top 25 of any of the lists at all, or any of the ones that counted. But Sam Baldock actually managed to make it into the top 10 in terms of goals, getting 14 across the season, but he is the only player to feature in that top 25. He's also top of the assist list as well, so a really good season for Sam Baldock, but he wasn't able to carry Brighton to glory because he was basically a one-man team, seemingly, getting 12 assists on top of those 14 goals, and there's not any other players, again, in the top 25. As far as clean sheets are concerned, Walton for Brighton ended up getting 8 across the season, not Stockdale, so he clearly got the nod over Stockdale. Either that or Stockdale isn't in the side anymore. And just looking a little bit more in-depth at the goals and assists and stuff, Sam Baldock got 14 across the season. Elvis Manu actually did a really good job getting 10 in only 26 appearances, whereas Sam Baldock got his 14 in 46 appearances. He played every single Championship game. Anthony Knockaert again doing well, getting 7 goals, Hamed getting 6, Norwood 4, Towell 3, and then the rest you can see there. And in terms of the average rating, unsurprisingly, it's Sam Baldock who's top of that with a 6.8 as an average, then Soltor, Hamed, and Elvis Manu. So that basically concludes this experiment then as to how Brighton would do in the Premier League, and I guess as a bonus to that, how they would do in the Championship on this game as well, because despite getting promoted into the Premier League, only finishing 15th in the Championship in Season 2, the season after getting relegated with only 18 points, I do believe it was, in the Premier League season, I don't think that's a fair, reflection of how good the team is in real life. I think the ratings are very harsh, especially given Brighton have been challenging for promotion for several years now, really. But I think, given, how they've done in the Championship this season, I don't think Brighton fans have to worry about a points total that low, although we'll have to see whether they they can survive in the Premier League. But nevertheless, I hope you have enjoyed this FIFA 17 career mode experiment video. If you have, then make sure to slap a like on it, subscribe if you are new to the channel, and comment about enjoying the video if you enjoyed it that much. You can also follow me on Twitter now. My handle will be at the bottom of the screen for those that can't see it for any sort of reason, like I forgot to edit it in or something. It is at the official FNG. You can type it in on Twitter, or there is a link to it in the description. And as you'll have seen from the advert at the start of the video, you can also download the OneFootball app on Google Play and also on iTunes as well. Very good app, would definitely recommend for all your football news, fixtures and scoreline needs. Nevertheless, it has been a pleasure ranting at you guys today. Have a great day, enjoy yourselves, and goodbye.
Come to the vape looking like gold medalist with Kurt Angle boots on. And I don't wear the boot on, but they got normal shoes on. You're the like yo with the shoe from. Get them to the yo Uncle Jar. I ain't got a flex on no one, I'm the original Don. Come to the vape looking like gold medalist with Kurt Angle boots on. And I don't wear the boot on.